Moses, the Moses of the Bible, may be named in some new ancient documents that have come out, which has sparked a huge controversy all over the internet. So this article just dropped, archaeologymag.com. It says Moses may be named in ancient Egyptian mine inscriptions, sparking debate over earliest biblical references. Okay. So if you guys didn't know, Moses is often credited with writing the first 5 books of the Bible. And there seems to be some history here that is very interesting. It says a new interpretation of 3,800-year-old inscriptions discovered in Egyptian turquoise mine has reopened one of archaeology's most controversial debates. Did Moses, the biblical leader of Exodus, ever exist? Okay, that's kind of a goofy question. If we're debating it and he's in these historical records, so then I just feel like this is like elitist, skeptical gaslighting.
Yeah, like we're going to start the conversation from the standpoint of, did this person ever even exist?
Right.
And it comes from the standpoint of like, now you have to prove to me that they somehow maybe existed. It was like, no. The most neutral would be, do we have proof of their life? But we have a lot of we have a lot of historical reports to say these people actually existed. So it's a very like non-charitable framing of the debate.
Yeah, the framing is super annoying. Independent researcher Michael S. Barron believes the answers lie in the Proto-Sinaitic inscriptions carved into rock walls at Sarabat el-Kahadim, an Egyptian Sinai Peninsula mine site. After 8 years of study using high-resolution photos and 3D scans provided by Harvard's Semitic Museum, Barron says he discovered 2 inscriptions reading Zot Moi Moshi, Hebrew for "this is from Moses." Whoa. And Neom Moshi, which means a saying of Moses. So that's the inscription right there that allegedly says that. That is fascinating.
Did you know that every single person out there believes in miracles regardless of their worldview, even if they claim to be an atheist? They say that everything comes from nothing. We say that everything comes from Creator. They say order comes from chaos. We say order comes from order. They believe life comes from non-life, and we believe life comes from life. They believe consciousness comes from mindless matter. We believe consciousness comes from a mind. So this collection, making a statement of the miracles we all believe, is a great way to spark conversations and remind yourself when you put it on of the ultimate miracle, which is Jesus living and dying and rising for all of us. Pick yours up right now at blessgod.shop.
Okay, so this says, if verified, I mean, how do you verify that?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going? What?
Carbon date the etchings? Like,
carbon, like pull a little rock out from the etching and see if If verified, these would be the oldest extra-biblical inscriptions references to Moses, a figure long documented in religious traditions, but never confirmed by archaeology. The inscriptions are part of a group of over 24 Proto-Sinaitic inscriptions first unearthed by Sir William Finders Petrie early in the 20th century. These writings, which were likely created by Semitic-speaking laborers during the reign of Pharaoh, 1800 BC, represent some of the earliest alphabetic texts known, ever predating Phoenician. Wow, that's pretty cool. So this goes back, man. This goes deep. Barron's theory is not, however, without debate. In his proto-thesis or early thesis, he suggests that these inscriptions are the voice of a single scribe who had knowledge of Egyptian hieroglyphs and used Proto-Sinaitic script to encode religious and personal messages. He believes the personal tone and poetic form of the scribe support a single authorship.
Okay,
why is that significant? Because it's a single authorship? What does that mean? That means that this couldn't have then been confirming Moses?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not tracking here. Okay, the inscription yield more than possible markings. Nearby inscriptions contain invocations to El, the Aramaic Hebrew deity, while others praise Baalat, the Semitic counterpart of the Egyptian goddess Hathor. Some of the inscriptions in honor of Baalat appear to have been scratched out by followers of El. Yeah, of course. Well,
come on, somebody.
We break down the idols, right?
This is like gang graffiti.
Yeah, scratch it out. Yeah. And so, and by the way, there was probably Egyptians that liked El, and Hebrews that probably still liked some of their Egyptian gods. So I'm sure that this isn't as like cut and dry as it's often framed, like all Hebrews just worship the God of the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Pointing to a theological rift. Yeah, you don't say. A burnt temple dedicated to Baalat and inscriptions that mention overseer slavery and a call to depart, possibly to be interpreted as Nai Mosh, let us depart, give support to religious rebellion and mass deportation, recalling the biblical Exodus. Come on, dude.
Wow.
That's incredible. So this is also interesting, because you're always going to have the goober that's like, the Bible is pro-slavery. It's so pro-slavery. And then they ignore that. There's like an entire book in there called The Exodus.
Hello, that's just about
God's
freeing
people
slaves.
being freed from slavery.
Hello.
Which is amazing. And of course, we referenced this on the channel before. Another piece of archaeology, which I think debunks the entire idea that the Bible is pro-slavery, is the slave Bible, which oddly enough removes the story of the Exodus and other passages about liberation to maintain power of those in leadership over Americans, specifically chattel slavery, to maintain their authority, maintain their power by still giving them Bibles because they wanted them to be literate, but removing the stories about freedom and rebellion. And so this is an interesting development specifically about Moses. And if this, it sounds like, could predate the earliest manuscripts that we have of the writings of Moses in the Old Testament, which then confirm the Exodus account, or at the very least, I mean, they're even questioning if it existed.
Yeah.
Right? Forget Israeli history. Forget their own history.
And
they're like, hey, once upon a time we were slaves in Egypt, and then we came out, and then like, this is our history. No. That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. We're still trying to figure out and verify that. And it's like, forget their history.
They're just Palestinians.
And just Palestinians. Or, I mean, listen, if there were Native Americans that had their own history and 2,000, 3,000 years ago, their own guy got
Mormons.
them out of a situation, and we were like, no, you guys are just making it up.
That's crazy.
Think about that, right? Yeah, you're just making it up. Nah, we don't even sure that guy's existed. It's like, well, maybe just respect their history.
Yeah.
Maybe just respect their history. So, interesting development. I'm always fascinated by this sort of stuff, confirming what we know to be true in the scripture, that being confirmed by archaeology. I don't think it necessarily proves empirically that like the God of the Bible is the one and true God. I don't think that it proves it empirically, but it sure does build to those. It's like a chain, and every single one of these things, the archaeology, the argument from creation, right? Like all of these things compound to the belief that God is who he claims to be, and that there are miracles, and that ultimately the ultimate miracle is that we're all here, and we just attribute those miracles to Jesus.
Yeah, I think every time there's a new finding, it's just another like, let's go find out another way that what we know to be true is true. I'm not surprised. That's how I sum it up.
Yeah.
But anyways, I killed your segue there on miracles.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, miracles we all believe, because we all believe in miracles. Not sure if you know that. Collection almost done. The sale is almost done. So go to blessgod.shop, pick yourself up some amazing apparel to remind you that we all believe in miracles. We just believe the miracles come from God, and we believe the ultimate miracle is Jesus. And a great way to remind yourself what you represent when you're out in public, the God that you serve while you're in public, and even an easy way to spark conversation and even evangelize, where the shirt almost does the icebreaker for you. So go to blessgod.shop, pick up the miracles we all believe, drop, and I'll see you up there, all right?